We What up, Big Travie? We are now live on YouTube. We just jumped on our Instagram page here as well. So if you wanted to follow along over there, you certainly can. Big Travie, week 2 is upon us, my brother. We'll wait a little bit. We'll let people stroll in here. What's
Let
going
Whisper
on?
Nation wake up a little bit.
Yeah, it's, week 2. Got some really good games on the slate, dude. I am so excited for today. I cannot wait, man. I also need a win in a couple of leagues, so I need
So
that.
it's a good thing you're on this show because
Yeah,
I can answer all your questions.
exactly. I end up starting Curtis Samuel the other day. End up somewhat working out for me. I didn't really want to. We had a
Yeah.
little bit of fiasco going on, but it's all right. The fantasy gods somewhat rewarded me by giving me 9.4 points from Curtis Samuel. Gotta love that. Oh, here we go. Let's get Big Travie in here.
All right.
We got a lot of Whisper Nation coming in here. There he is. There's
Well,
Big
that's good.
Travie. Also, for everybody, we are also on our YouTube page, the Fantasy Whispers. Or, sorry, just go to YouTube and search the Fantasy Whispers, and we are also live on there. If you want some questions and you want to jump on there, or if you want to go on here. Going sideways, huh?
Well, it's like long view for whatever reason.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
All right, we got some questions already strolling in here. Big Trav, you want to just jump in here? You want to go over the latest ins and outs real quick before we jump into anything else, and then we'll start answering some questions from Whisper
Yeah,
Nation
so we've
here.
got a lot of the ins and outs up on our Instagram stories as well, but we obviously have Mike Badgley in or out. I'm sorry for the Chargers, so that's a kicker. Not too big of a concern there.
No.
Let me see if I could grab the rest of them here. Antonio Brown, big in. Mike Williams, a big in as well. I
Yeah.
believe the Baltimore Ravens guys are all in, if I am not mistaken. I don't think
Yes.
anybody got top. They had Joe Mixon is in. So those of you looking at Gio Bernard, I already got a ton of questions on Gio Bernard this morning, and here's the deal. Had Mixon been out, I would have, loved for you to start Bernard, but with Mixon back in, I just can't project Bernard's usage. So if you've got another guy you're looking, like one of the questions was Miles Sanders or Bernard, I was taking Miles Sanders in that instance just because of the matchup and the upside there. Whereas, we've seen Bernard be relegated to the bench when Mixon's playing. So we'll just see how that goes. How concerned are you on Mixon is one of the questions here. I am concerned. You have to be, right? He's battling an ankle injury, but listen, you spent high draft capital on this guy. They love this guy. This is their bell cow. If they say he's active, they're going to do everything in their power to start him up and get him going. So
yeah, in that case, it would certainly depend on who your other running backs are. Might be a little difficult. Joe Mixon is probably a high draft pick, so he's probably your RB1. So it is going to be something that you're going to want to monitor all the way up until kickoff. They said he's going to practice or warm up, and then they'll see where it goes from there. So just be cautious and make sure you monitor that much after we jump off. Make sure you keep the Joe Mixon.
This one's a tough one, Johnny. John and _underscore son says, "Hey guys, Joe Mixon if he starts or Josh Jacobs standard scoring." I'm actually going to go Josh Jacobs here. We were talking just now. Johnny was saying it may be hard to bench Mixon, but if you got somebody like Jacobs who just saw 25 carries in a standard league, like roll Jacobs out there with no hesitation.
100%. And I like the matchup that Jacob presents against Kansas City. Leonard Fournette averaged 5 yards per carry against them last weekend. So certainly don't mind Josh Jacobs, especially if they're going to give him the volume, which I certainly agree with, 23, 25 touches today. Jacob Lee on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Hollywood Brown or Dante Pettis.
And, Hollywood Brown all day.
Here's the thing. I'm a huge Pettis believer still, but I need to see a little bit more, as well as Hollywood Brown. Here's the thing: you will have to deal. He wasn't in for a ton of snaps last week, Big Travis. I think he only played in 12 snaps, I believe. But when he was in is when he was targeted. against this Cardinals secondary, I could definitely see him getting loose for a bomb or two. Very high upside with Hollywood Brown, but just know that his floor is very, very low. If the Cardinals decide that, hey, anytime Hollywood comes onto the field, we're going to watch that guy more specifically because of what happened last weekend. So just temper those expectations just a little bit. And then I can never be Hedred Dad. Okay, Carlos Hyde, Adrian Peterson, or Joe Mixon.
I'm taking Joe Mixon still out of those three.
Yeah.
I know that AP is likely to get some good usage, and it's tempting, but like Mixon, man, like the upside is just there still for him to fall in the end zone for you for the Bengals. And how, I told this to a fan earlier today, like how mad would you feel if you started or you didn't start Mixon and he had a decent game today? I think you'd be really upset with yourself. So I think you have to continue to roll Mixon out as long as he's healthy. I mean, we see he did this last year where he had the knee thing and he came right back and got ultimate usage. See, Potter agrees with me.
Yeah, Potter's
Potter
over
says,
here.
yeah,
He wants me to speak up.
start Mixon.
Yeah.
We got
but
a couple questions on IG.
I do not think that Adrian Peterson is a terrible start today. I will just say that, but I do agree.
Yeah.
Go with Joe Mixon. He should have a good game. All right.
So 3_Robinson_3 says Aaron Jones or Larry Fitzgerald in my flex. I have both in standard and PPR. In PPR, I'd be taking Fitz.
Yeah.
I think in standard you got to roll Aaron Jones though.
100%.
And that's kind of good for you if you have them both in standard and PPR. You get to diversify your output today a little bit. I would go Fitzgerald at PPR and Aaron Jones in standard. What do you think, Johnny?
100% agree with that. And I like the diversification. So that way, either way, you're probably going to be happy. But Aaron Jones should get a healthy workload today. Again, that, Matt LaFleur wants to show that they can run the ball, and that's how his offense is predicated, is on that run. So I do expect a bounce-back day from Jones today. But Fitz, he looks great. I mean, as much as we want to keep saying he's getting older and older, he's looking good. And let's also note that Baltimore had a couple of injuries to their secondary. So they're not, what we saw last weekend against Miami is not the full entire squad that they're rolling out today. I think that this is going to be a high.
Yeah, cornerback Jimmy Smith is out this week. So that's a big downgrade for the secondary for Baltimore. So I like that point for sure, Johnny. We also had another question here I want to get to. Dede Westbrook or Cortland Sutton at the flex, and this is Dede Westbrook for me. It's not close, and that's because Dede was targeted by the man Gardner Minshew 24% of the time when he came in. So Dede was not only getting love for Nick Foles, he was getting love also from Gardner Minshew. So he's the pure number one there. I think Sutton competes a little bit with Emmanuel Sanders.
Well, and against that Bears defense, you want to stay away from that. We learned our lesson hard last week. With our Aaron Rodgers pick. We do apologize for that. We do get things wrong from time to time, but now we know. So stay away from the Bears defense and sit. I would sit Sutton. Love that. And, hey, I'm just going to throw this out there. Big Travis, I really hope this quarterback for the Jags really works out. Look, came out dressed in his outfit.
Swag level 100.
Yeah, dude. A swag of the week. And I really hope he backs up with some good gameplay today because that's just fun. You got to root for that.
It's fun to root for, yeah. So we also had DK or Keyshawn or Robbie Anderson PPR.
So wait, say that one more time.
So he says DK or Keyshawn. I'm assuming Keyshawn Johnson, Cardinals, or Robbie Anderson PPR. I'm leaning DK here.
Yeah.
I just think that we saw him actually used a little bit more than these other two guys. And with Trevor Siemian in there, we just don't know who he's going to like. So it's hard to project.
Right.
Especially in PPR. He's never been a big PPR guy. He's been a big play guy.
And Anderson is going up against one of the best corners for the Buffalo Bills. He shuts down wide receivers, backup quarterback in there. Yeah.
No, Jets play Browns. That was last week.
Oh, yeah, excuse me.
I'm
sorry. But
that's okay.
Even so, he does draw a difficult corner matchup this week with the Browns as well. So give me I'll take the other guy.
So Nikki Chand 5 says, "What's going on with OJ Howard? Should I find a new tight
Oh,
end?"
dude, what?
Man, this is quickly becoming one of the biggest letdowns in the year. 2 weeks in, we always like to preach that maybe you wait 3 to 4 weeks before you make any big decisions. So I'm okay if you want to stream someone else until OJ proves himself again, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be cutting bait yet on OJ just because I think that the upside is huge. And if you're really frustrated with it, maybe look at trading OJ. But I would not try to just cut OJ just for the sake of cutting him. I think you could wait and see him get a good game and at least get some value out of him.
All right. How much? How much does AB being active hurt Edelman's value? B. Hedred
It's
dad.
Listen. At first, I would have said it doesn't because of the trust level that's there for Tom Brady. But we have to really think about the Edelman for the most part. I mean, AB is able to work into the slot and do the things that Edelman loves to do and that Josh McDaniels loves for this offense. So it's really on AB's ability to pick up the game or the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And from all the reports, he's been staying late this entire week, probably because he realizes he's probably not going to play very much longer.
Yeah,
But he
probably.
said he's been spending a lot of nights there, catching a lot of balls from the backup quarterback and trying to learn this playbook as well as he can. And I think it's you could definitely make a case that AB. I mean, look at AB is a target monster wherever he goes. He will
Mm-hmm.
be that. And that's Edelman's game. It's volume. And so it's hard to say that Edelman won't be affected here. What do you think, Johnny?
Well, so I was listening to the guys on Countdown Live, and they talked about how typically what ends up happening when a trade comes in midweek like this one did, or relatively soon to that. That wide receiver is generally becomes the X wide receiver in the set. So the X wide receiver is the wide receiver that doesn't really go in motion. They are on the island by themselves. So the rest of the wide receivers split to the right. He would be split on the left, or vice versa. And so I think that he will have a designated amount of snaps that he will play in this game. It is supposed to be 94 degrees there, a little bit warmer, so they will be, changing out a lot of sets there. They are favored. If I can sit AB, I'm probably going to sit him this week because I just don't have confidence in saying that AB is going to get enough of a workload or enough targets this week to say roll him out there this week. But I think long term, this of course affects all the wide receivers for New England. Josh Gordon's upside now is a little bit more hindered. You have Edelman's upside is a little bit more hindered. But I think out of all those guys, Edelman is the least affected, simply because he runs basically the same routes over and over again, and he has that trust already with Tom Brady.
Yeah, trust is one thing, talent is another. So we'll just see how it plays out. I think, like
Sure.
I said, I think this was the point that Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth made on Sunday Night Football last week, is that Antonio Brown is essentially what Edelman, aspires to be. No,
Mm-hmm.
no offense to Edelman. Edelman's great, but
Yeah.
like Antonio Brown is a guy that could be moved all over the field. Maybe not this week, as Johnny said, but I think there's some upside there for AB and downside for Edelman long term. Wandering_Sean says AP or Deshaun non PPR flex asking for a friend. Deshaun Jackson's my guy this week, and until
Yeah.
he proves otherwise, 10 targets last week, always has the ability to bust the top off. So I'd be rolling out Deshaun Jackson all day, every day. Country_Croc_ says, are Cam Newton and Trubisky starting caliber moving forward? Johnny, what do you think?
Mitch Trubisky, let's wait a little bit. I do think that I don't know. It's really puzzling with Mitch Trubisky because there are some days and some weeks where he's just like on his game. We saw that upside last year, but then you have games like last weekend where he's like missing guys that are wide open. Allen Robinson could have had a bigger day than he already had. They do get Anthony Miller back. He didn't play at all last weekend, and so this weekend he could get some more playing time, which is really nice. And then who was the other quarterback that you were talking about? I'm sorry.
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Cam Newton, I'm really worried about. I'll be honest with you. I'm very very worried because he did not look right on that Thursday night game. And whatever he wants to say, his shoulder's fully healthy. Whatever, the commentators want to keep repeating, oh, yeah, he looks fine to me. Well, I can certainly tell you I've watched a lot of Cam Newton games. He did not look good. He did not look good. You could tell because there was a 4th and 1, and Cam Newton did not run the ball with it. They handed off. They did like a sweep, which was a weird play. You saw it on the underthrow to Curtis Samuel. That should have been an 80-yard touchdown easily for Cam, and instead he underthrew it, and it only resulted in a 43-yard reception. So I'm worried about both of those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Right now in the short term, you're worried about both of these guys. We'll see what Trubisky's able to do against Denver this week. He's only got the one game under his belt, but for Cam, we've seen it 2 weeks in a row not be able to do it. So you're definitely looking at streaming options. Once again, kind of like the OJ Howard thing, I wouldn't be cutting bait on Cam just yet because look, let's not lie here. Cam still has top 5 upside. He's done it before multiple times in his career, and I think he can get there again. We've just got to see if it's the ankle and not the shoulder. If it's the ankle, I think he could get over that. We could get him back in form. This mini bye that they have after the Thursday night game could be just what the doctor ordered for Cam.
Yeah.
CK Null 16 says, how do you feel about Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones in the long run? In the long run, I love these guys. I'm not worried about Devontae Adams at all. You might even get one more bad game this week out of him just because they are playing Minnesota, who just like destroyed the Falcons. But the Falcons still got both those wide receivers to get a touchdown last week. So there's room for Adams, who is a red zone guy, who is a touchdown monster, to get a score this week. Aaron Jones, once again, faces a tough matchup this week. But look, Matt LaFleur comes from that 12 personnel, that Shanahan offense. He's going to run the football a ton, throw to the backs. And we saw Aaron Jones dominate snaps last week. Yes, Jamal Williams got worked in, but Aaron Jones was the guy there. And I'm not worried about either of these guys long term.
Okay, so Connor Burke, he has a question here. I have 4 wide receivers I'm considered starting in a PPR. It's between Hopkins, OBJ, Thielen, and Hollywood Brown. Who do I start? I don't think you get cute here. You just go with your guys. You go with Hopkins.
Bro,
OBJ,
this guy's
Thielen.
wide receivers are stacked.
Yeah, good job on drafting that, because that's a great trio. That's a great, all 4 of those guys. But I'm going to stick with my studs here. I'm not going to get cute. Hollywood could have a big brown, or could have a big brown, censor here. Whoa, could have a big game, but I'm still sticking with my studs. We also have Dak or Baker. This is a good one. This is a crazy question. I can't believe we're is a question we're getting in week 2, Travis. But
I'm actually going. I'm going Dak because I think the opportunity for someone to lay another egg is higher with Baker, in my opinion, just because they are still figuring out themselves as a team. I think both will have a good week this week. I think Baker bounces back this week, but give me Dak, dude. Like after seeing that last week, I want Dak against Washington.
I'm gonna go the opposite here. I'm gonna go Baker, and here's why. I think that Baker is really pissed off because of what happened last weekend, and he really wants to show people. He has one of the biggest chips on his shoulder. Good for him. He makes it work. He uses it to motivate him, and I think that this team is going to be ready for this Monday night game, and I think that they're going to come out on fire. And I'm also playing him in a couple of leagues, so playing against him, I should say. So I think that he is going to go ham against me, and so therefore I would go with Baker. We got someone was upset we skipped. I apologize, Mimsy. Ridley or Cooper Kupp? Ridley or Cooper Kupp full PPR?
Ooh, this is tough.
This is a very tough one. I think I'm going to go Kupp.
Lean for the higher over under.
It should be the New Orleans against Texans.
And Kupp, even a little hobbled last year, dominated. And
I think that
the Saints.
This is also going to be a huge Julio Jones game, I believe. Julio Jones always owns the Philadelphia Eagles. He came out and said he's ready for this week. So I believe that Julio Jones is going to be like the main benefactor there. I really hope it's Ridley because I got him in a couple leagues. So is Big Travie. But I think it's going to be a big week for Julio.
Read her F10 says, do you guys like Boyd today, or should I go with a risk start and start Hollywood? This one's tough too. I would probably roll Boyd. I think that Boyd will settle back into a lot of volume. But if you need the upside, if somebody that you played, which I don't know how they would, but if somebody that you played had a big Thursday night, you may want to be looking at starting Hollywood. But I think at this point, like if you're heavily an underdog in this matchup against your opponent, maybe go with Hollywood. But I think you got to roll Boyd out there. Start 3, half PPR, Gallup, Carry-On, Singletary, Woods.
Gallup, Singletary, Cooper, and Woods.
So Gallup, Carry-On, Johnson, Singletary, and Woods. I think you're starting Carry-On and Woods, and then it's really between Singletary and Gallup, half PPR. I'd probably go
guys.
Gallup.
Is this PPR? This is PPR?
It's half PPR.
Half PPR, yeah. I'm going to go Gallup on that one. I do expect Singletary to have a big game today. I like him, his chances of getting close to 100 yards rushing. But I think you got to do Gallup looks so good that we just talked about how Dak and that offense is rolling. I like what they're doing over there, and I like Gallup. Gallup is looking like a good steal in the later rounds. All right.
All right, so we have another one here. We got, does DJ O'Toole 2, does Jordan Howard have any RB1 upside in the near future?
Jordan Howard, I do not believe due to
not RB1.
Yeah,
he's got some RB2 upside if he falls into the end zone in the next couple of weeks. But I do think that Miles Sanders will eventually distance himself. And look, Sproles is even distancing himself from Howard in this backfield. We saw the usage last week. So, yeah, I would not be trying to have Howard as somebody I need to rely on.
Right. We have Rivers or Baker. I'm going to go Baker again on this one. Baker Mayfield.
Last question. How do you guys like Waller today also?
Ooh,
love Waller. Yeah, Waller. We talked about him on our weekly show this week. Look, we saw what Jared Cook did last year in that offense, dominated targets, led the team in targets. I think we've heard John Gruden say that the offense runs through the tight end. Waller is a physical specimen. I'm rolling Waller out. We're starting him until further notice.
All right, Landry, Gallup, Diggs, Duke Johnson, half-point PPR, pick 3 from Cool Breeze 2007. I'm going Landry.
I think it's Duke. The receivers here. Oh, you really like Duke here?
I think Duke. I mean, we saw what Duke Johnson got last weekend. He got a ton of targets out of that backfield. I think that they will continue to work him into that passing. And that's a high over-under for today for New Orleans. So I would actually sit out of those 3. I would sit Diggs. Listen, I'm concerned about that. That passing offense. They have really kind of revamped that. Even I don't expect it to go like it was last weekend, where he only had 10. They only had 10 throwing plays and 10 passing plays for Minnesota. I don't expect it to be that low against the Green Bay Packers, but I do have my concerns about Diggs now, seeing that.
Yeah, the volume does concern you there, so I'd be okay with that. Cool Breeze actually came back and said they play the Jags. We understand they play the Jags, but usually when you get in a defensive matchup, even if that were the case, which I don't think we're going to be that. Duke has an opportunity to get a lot of catches here, regardless. As somebody that, if Ramsey's able to shut down Hopkins, which is not really possible, but if he's able to do that and kind of put pressure, you could be looking at Duke Johnson catching a lot of balls to be a safety valve.
And we saw that last weekend, Damian Williams had a really good game against these Jags.
Sanders, Mixon, Bernard, Drake, PPR. I'm assuming you need to start one, and it's Mixon for me. Yeah, yes, Sanders, Mixon, Bernard, Drake. Yeah. Just don't trust the Miami Dolphins. Otherwise, I would kind of lean on Drake there for PPR.
Singletary, Crowder, Amendola at flex.
Singletary. Let me get some of that Singletary left.
I'm gonna go.
Crowder would be a nice play if they weren't having Trevor Siemian throwing the ball at this point. Amendola did get some love. He did dominate target share there, so a little bit something to keep notice, because Golden Tate did the same thing in that same role for the Lions. So we'll see.
All right, we have Andy Dev, Lamar or Matt Ryan, Gallup or Duke and flex. So I would go Lamar Miller over Matt Ryan, and then I would go. I would probably go in this instance Gallup over Duke. What do you think, Travis?
I like Gallup a lot, and I
Yeah.
think that he's got an opportunity. Look, Gallup was a guy that they drafted to replace Des Bryant. He didn't come along as fastly as they liked. They went and traded for Amari Cooper. Now with Amari Cooper dominating all the toughest defenders, you're seeing Gallup kind of emerge here. Yeah, I love Gallup here.
All right, we got
Um,
same question on both Instagram and YouTube. Lamar Miller or Carson Wentz?
Lamar Jackson or Carson Wentz?
Or yeah.
Look, look, I don't know why you would have both these guys. So you've got to look at trading one of these guys away because you're going to have issues all year. But Lamar Jackson is who we have ranked higher this week. Carson Wentz is probably your safer play, if we're being completely honest. So if you need safety here, if you need to just edge out a win, I would be going Carson Wentz. But look, Lamar Jackson's got a cake matchup at home after just dominating the Dolphins in a cake matchup. I want Lamar Jackson all day long.
All right, and I think that wraps up our show for today. As well, you guys keep jumping on. We'll do this every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. live. We'll both go streaming on Instagram and on YouTube. Please like and subscribe over there. If you hit the bell notification, you'll get a live notification every time we go live and do this show. So we greatly appreciate all of you guys. Good luck this week. Good luck, Big Travie.
Go get those W's.
Let's get those W's. And then,
what are you doing for the game today, Johnny?
So I'm about to go make some breakfast right now. I'm going to do a little Belgian waffles with a little berry sauce on top with some whipped cream.
A little drizzle?
Yeah, a little drizzle on there. And then dude, you know what? I was going to mention this. You know what's so great about football season? One of the best and overlooked things. You could start drinking at 10 in the morning, and it's not like...
Did you see that new Coors Light commercial?
Which one?
It's got the two dudes and their roommates, and he pulls out the Coors Light, and it's like the official beer of drinking on Saturday at 10 a.m.
Nice.
I was like, what is going on here? Great marketing campaign.
Yeah, it's great. But I mean, it's like not frowned upon because everyone knows, like, you just drink some beer with watching football. So.
No, and that's a great point. Like this week, you know, we're going over to the homie's house. I made a bunch of toppings for Bloody Marys last night. Cut up some pickle, cut up some pepper jack cheese, some pepperoni, little smokies, some bacon. So I'm gonna put those on top of my Big Travie's famous Bloody Mary bars coming out today. So yeah, we're doing that up big time. So all right, Whisper Nation, we love you. Good luck this week and get those W's, and we'll be up on the stories and in the DM, so hit us up there. All right, guys?
As always, please like and subscribe to the show. Check us out. Leave a review on iTunes if you care to do so. We would appreciate it. All right, until tomorrow, Whisper Nation, take it easy. That's Big Travie. I'm Giant Game Time Hicks, and we're the Fantasy Whisperers. Good luck this week. Peace.